Sorry about that. We went off air just for a second. We should be back on. I think Mitch clicked on a thing and ran our screen, turned me off by accident. I'm just joking. I got to blame somebody. Right?
I didn't touch your machine.
I think you did anyway. But yeah, so sorry about that, folks. But yeah, what I was saying, I'm not sure what missed out, but we just brought up this USO, and it looks very similar on a monthly basis. Jay said, are you seeing stuff, Mitch?
Yeah, we're back up.
Okay, all right. So yeah, so I'm trying to make sure we've got some folks watching the feed outside of what I see here, but it looks like we're fine. But this USO feed that we have is really looks very similar to the crude oil chart. It's got this elongated base here, and similar type elements that we're going to look at this thing moving up. So this would be something. Let's go over to the weekly graph here.
Yeah, I think the big thing with both USO and oil is a little bit more volatile, a little bit more exaggerated compared to the typical oil market. I don't know if that has to do with the futures contracts or the options that they're using to build this.
Is this like an actual commodity type thing where they're actually tracking, or are they tracking stocks?
I believe they're actually tracking
the commodity?
the actual commodities.
And they're using futures and combination of things.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, so if you have some backwardation that's going on, which means that the back months in the crude oil are cheaper than the front months, which is that can also cause some different elements that come up in indexes like this, depending on who and how's running this particular index. What was the other one that we had, just real quick?
Oil.
OIL. Yeah.
Yep.
So, and is this the same thing, a commodity index that's using futures?
Yeah, this one is based off of an ETN, so it's a banknote as opposed to the classic ETF equity side.
What is the VPM model that we have on there?
Give me 1 second. I had that pulled up.
Yeah, so we'll put the model up here real quick and just see what the model's doing on a short-term basis.
1.2.
1.2. Okay, so there we go. So we are long this for a while. It looks like we've been long since. What have we been long?
On oil, we've been long since February.
Yeah, February 28th was the signal. So got some positive. Certainly last week was helpful. Like I said, 0.55, 0.6 on this on ppm 1 and 2, which is I'm in front of those numbers, but those are numbers that are respectful of a uptrend. So we definitely have an uptrend and expansion. Looks like on this index we're looking at a 25 to 28 range expectation on the upside. We're currently 25, so that's 10-15%. But what you don't know out of these patterns, if it decides to go vertical, once it gets out of this range, probably gets on this index above, looks like 26, 20 or so. All of a sudden, this thing's in a freelance mode, and it can just really explode to the upside. And I'm not sure how these numbers correlate with the actual crude price, but like I said, we're looking at the potential, extreme potential of 150, but more likely somewhere between the 130, 140 range, 137. So yeah, so there's definitely some upside here, and does that mean disaster for the market? Is that the shoe that's going? I don't know. I don't know if that's going to do it or not. It certainly gives something for a talk from a dialogue standpoint. That'll certainly be the case. So I guess we're probably ready for some. We're all the way into the show. Let's do a couple stocks that we picked out for the day.
Well, I thought an interesting one might be DWA for DreamWorks. I saw the latest How to Train Your Dragon movie yesterday, so that made me think about that.
Yeah, that did really well for it.
Yeah.
Down 11%.
Didn't look like it had the desired impact, though. I don't know if it's because it's losing to 22 Jump Street over the weekend or what, but...
Yeah. So much for kids' movies making money.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's interesting. This stock is getting hammered down 12%. So interesting. You can also see, I don't know are we 1-2 on this?
We are 1-2 on this one.
Okay, so we're out of it, so that's a good thing.
It is
good. Let it go.
That was the Disney movie, not the DreamWorks one. Let it go.
Yeah. Oh.
That frozen.
Yeah, very funny. But what we're looking at here, they'll look at the PPMs now, -132, -145, and -39. This is a serious downtrend in this stock. Not likely for this to be a buy for a while. And we'll see if it challenges these lows over here, which looks like around 2280 or so. We get through that level, then you're probably setting another level down. Whatever they were doing right, they're not anymore. So I'm not sure if there's a storyline on this at all, other than movies, summer movies or something, I guess, that are coming out. But so, how about another one here, Mitch?
Another one at main news. How about COV? Medtronic's in the process of purchasing COV. They just announced this weekend. That is on the 3.2 system. And much like what we talked about before with the Pfizer AstraZeneca purchase, it looks like Medtronic's in the market to jump ship, at least cross the pond, go back over to the UK area, and camp out in Ireland for tax advantages.
Yeah, Mitch and I were talking about that offline before the show, and that seems to be the big thing. Nothing like a major global financial collapse to set up a tax haven in a country that got hit the worst, and now everybody wants to be there. Wish they had better weather.
Yeah.
Living in a paradise, it's hard to look outside of that. But you can see. Do we know what the deal price was or anything on this? Because we are long this one, and
yeah, let me pull that back up. I did see it, but I forgot to put it in my notes for today.
Yeah. So what we've seen in the past, and it worked out really good with the. Was it AZN or what was that?
Yeah, AZN for AstraZeneca.
Yeah, worked out really good when the pop came, is to go ahead and to take profits on the stock. And typically these stocks will open into their ranges. So if this happens to be on your list and in your portfolio, this might be an opportunity. I can see.
Yeah, the purchase price is for $42.9 billion. I got to do the math to see what the share price is.
Okay. Well, it's up 18%, so the street likes the deal at the moment, and
Yep.
I'm betting that it's probably like that. I know there was the other big one that was out there was Priceline buying OpenTable,
OpenTable, yeah.
my favorite app.
Yeah, the price per share is $93.22. So it opened near that. Looks like it's trailed off of that since then.
Yeah, so quite a bit off of that. It opened at 92.68. So one of these things, if you have these stocks, and if you're fortunate enough to be watching your stocks, one of the things that we always suggest, and this is a market or a process warrior's thought, but is to review all your holdings every week. To look at, make sure that the pricing looks right. There's not any kind of mispricing from the database that came through. We usually catch most of them, but there's things that happen and get through, and maybe a spike up or anything that you might see. But also, if there is any movement, probably looking at news. I wish we had a way of like putting out news stories or targeting, if there's any news on stocks that you hold, to be able to send that to you. That's been a dream for a long time.
Yeah, one of the easy routes you could do as an advisor is to set up Google alerts for each of the stocks within your portfolio. That way, on a weekly basis, you can even configure when you get it. So you can set it up so you get it, Sunday night, Sunday morning, sometime over the weekend before you get the orders. Or before you trade the orders. So that way you can see if there's any news items that came to the forefront that you might want to look at.
Anything we can export that would make it easier to set that up, like the active list or something like that? Just use a CSV and cut and paste it in?
I believe that's what you can do. I'll have to take a look at the user interface because I know it's changed over the years. But I believe if you just go to google.com/alerts, it'll give you the setup for it. You can just punch in all the tickers there. Yeah,
it'd be really cool if we could figure out how to alert people to that, but if we knew who held those stocks. But anyway, so these stocks do have a tendency to spike up like this, everybody got pretty excited. We traded just below the deal price at 93 something, so we were 92.68 as a high. So that's pretty typical there, I guess.
Yep.
So let's take a look at. Can you bring up Open Table and let's take a look at that deal real quick, and then we'll scale down for the day.
Yeah, obviously the ticker for that is open, and it did get a buy order today, of course.
Yeah.
3.2 is the trade system on that.
Okay, so I have it on the right one here. Yeah, there it is. So this has got the purchase right here. You won't see this in VPM until tonight, but it will show up here. So this is one. Do not do this trade.
Yeah.
This is you want the opposite. If you already owned it, then you want to sell out of it. If you don't own it, you don't want to buy it. I don't know what. This is right around the deal price too, wasn't it?
It is, and again, I'm pulling up the deal price right now. There was another stock that made headlines that was in a similar situation, FIO. Interestingly, they didn't announce the buyout until today. So if you had executed orders in that, I did take a look at the system. It doesn't look like a lot of advisors happen to have that stock. But that's one where
I see the buy right there.
Yeah, it was announced, and so if you had already set up the orders and just went on with your life without actually checking on the news, you'd be buying right into the strike price because we got a fresh buy based on last week's information. So the order was valid up to the point that now you're buying it at a premium up, I believe, 20% on that.
Right.
So that's one.
What was price line?
Yeah, Priceline is getting purchased for $2.6 billion in cash, and I'm still trying to locate.
What's the symbol for Priceline?
Priceline is PCLN.
PCLN. That's been a pretty strong stock.
It has been. That's done very well.
Yeah. So is that right? 1,100.
It is. So I'm amazed that they haven't gone through a stock split yet. Chances are, after they take on Open Table, I wouldn't be surprised if they did also go through a stock split just to bring that price down to something a little bit more reasonable for the average investor.
These guys have some serious currency going here.
Yeah, they do.
I would suspect Open Table is an awesome app. I can't live without it. I do most of my hotel or my reservations for restaurants through that thing whenever possible. So let's go back and come back on here, and let's just talk about the in closing here what the markets have done while we're talking. We're back slightly positive on the day now. Let me go over out of PCLN here and get to the index. And matter of fact, I'm going to bring up this is the cash index. I'm going to bring up a 5-minute index, and you can see where we rallied early in the session, we came down, and this is pretty much setting up this next move. Interesting enough, the Fibonacci objectives here are for it to go to 1941, which is the resistance 2 on today's sheets, and with the possibility going 1945 to 1947, which is the extreme on the upside today. So we'll see if we can get there. It looks like this 1941, which would be challenging the highs that we did today already, 1941.15, and so that would be a slight new high. If we got through that, we'd probably see it print up into that 1945.45 is the Fibonacci, or actually the S or R3 for the day, and this Fibonacci number is giving us a 45.33, so they're pretty much in sync with the expectations within the daily ranges that we see. So that's certainly a possibility that we'll see this market continue higher. And then just one quick snapshot here. See, look at we're coming. It's going to be interesting here. We're about 20 minutes away from the next cycle. We're trading into it. This may be a minor cycle. We'll see this thing set up and to the last hour of the day for some sort of increase. So we are pretty much at the end of the show. There may be some changes. I have some things going on in my life that I may not be able to do some shows. We're going to see if, I don't know that we can get Mitch to do them on his own yet, but it would be nice. But I've got some things. We'll let you know what the schedule for this week might be slightly changed, and we'll be emailing you all that. But thanks again for listening, and we shall talk to you possibly tomorrow morning will be the next meeting that we'll have, and then there'll be a skip on Wednesday. I'm waiting to find out some information. So everyone have a great day. We shall talk to you soon.